Good afternoon, class. I am Engineer Ray Anthony A. Pardillo, and I am your teacher for today for STEM Grade 11. But before we start, let us pray. Dear God, thank you for having us here. May you bless us with knowledge and may the students grasp the learnings that I will share. Thank you for the blessings that you will give us every day. Amen. So, our topic for today is about differential calculus and its application. So, let us review what is differential calculus. It is the branch of mathematics that studies the rate of change at which quantities behave. So, what is the rate of change, by the way? In our analytic geometry, we knew that if there is a given point 2 with um, coordinates of x2 and y2, and points 1 with coordinates x1 and y1, we can simply get the rate of change, which is the slope by the formula of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But what if you have a curve? Can we get the slope or the rate of change of the curve? We cannot directly substitute that to the formula because the formula of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is only for straight lines. So we know that in theory, that in any curve, there is only one point of intersection between the line and the curve. Suppose the curve is lying on an xy plane, and then this is the line. The line will only intersect at very one point on that part of the curve. Also in this example, you can see that the line also intersect in the one point of the curve. So application in real life situations. How important is getting the rate of change? This method is applicable in many fields, including engineering, economy, medicine, astrophysics, and population count. Engineering, economy, astrophysics, and population count. So let us recall the derivative of constant. So the derivative of constant is d over dx of the constant is always 0. So here are some examples for our refreshment. So y is equal to 8. What is the derivative of y is equal to 8? The derivative is dy over dx. Then it is equal to 0. We can call it also y prime. Well, how about y is equal to 1/2? A fraction number. So even though it's a fraction, it's always constant, and then it is 0. It's always 0 for constant. You can call dy over dx as y prime. But how about y is equal to pi? Is pi constant? Does it have a constant value? Yes. Its value is 3.14. So if we derive pi, we will arrive at also the value of 0. So let us recall the most one of the most important formulas in derivative is the power rule. The power rule stated that d over dx of x raised to n is equal to n multiplied by x raised to n minus 1. So let's have an example. So y is equal to 2x squared. So the next process is dy over dx equals, you bring down the exponent 2, multiply the constant 2, and then you will subtract 1 on the original exponent, which is 2 minus 1. Then we will derive at dy over dx is equal to 4x. How about y is equal to 1/3 of x raised to 8? So again, the formula, we will bring down 8. Dy over dx equals, we bring down 8 multiplied by the constant 1/3 multiplied by x, and then we will subtract 1 from the original exponent. So 8 minus 1. So dy over dx is equal to 8/3 of x raised to 7. Any questions? None? Okay, we will proceed. So let us recall further the combination of constant rule and the power rule. So now this is more complicated given so that we can recall, because this method will be used on our further discussion. So y is equal to 2x squared plus 8. So dy over dx, so we will apply the exponent rule on the first, and that is 2 times 2 times x raised to 2 minus 1. And then the derivative of 8, which is constant, is 0. So the final answer is dy over dx is equal to 4x. Any questions? None? Okay. So the next given is y is equal to 1/4 pi times the x raised to 10 plus 20. Even though there's a pi, you may be confused that it may be constant 0, but it is not, because it is multiplied by x. It is not alone. Okay, don't be confused by that. So dy over dx is equal to, we will bring down 10, 10 multiplied by 1/4 pi x raised to 10 minus 1. And then the derivative of 20 is 0, because that is a constant. So dy over dx is equal to 5/2 of pi times x raised to the 9th power. Any question? Any clarification? You can raise your hand so that I may recognize you. So next is solving real life problems. So here is, find the dimensions of a rectangle with a perimeter of 20 meters with an area as large as possible. So did you get the question? We have a perimeter of 20 meters and we want to construct a rectangle. So what is the dimension of the rectangle so that we will attain the maximum area as much as possible? So here's the fence. So given perimeter, which is P, equals to 20 meters. Solve for maximum area it can cover. So the next step is, maybe we can think of the fence like 8 by 2, which is 8 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 20. But if we get that area, it will give us 16 square meters. We can also think of a perimeter fence which is 7 meters by 3 meters. It look like this. But if we multiply, it will give us 21 square meters. But also we wonder if we extend the width to 6 meters by 4 meters, and it looks like this. The total area is 24 meters. But are we sure, or is this the greatest area? What is our assurance that 24 square meters is the greatest area possible? We have no basis for that. But luckily, we have differential calculus to solve this kind of problems. So first, let's integrate the problem. We need the area of the rectangle. What is the formula of the area of triangle? Yes, if you want to answer, just raise your hand. So the formula of area of rectangle is simply length times width. But we cannot um, differentiate with three unknowns in one equation. It must be always with a relationship between the two. Okay? Remember that, class. If there are three unknowns in one equation, we cannot use differentiation. Okay? But we have a condition that the perimeter is 20 meters, so maybe we can find some ways to make this relationship between two variables. So the perimeter is 2L plus 2W. We know that the perimeter is 20, so we can substitute 20 equals 2L plus 2W. And then we can transpose 2L so that we can get the value of W in terms of L. So we factor out 2, that it become 10 minus L equals to W. So we can cancel out 2. And then now we have a relationship between the width and the length. We can plug in that in the equation of area, which is length times width. So now we can say that area is equal to L times the W, which is 10 minus L. Then simplifying, A, or area, is equal to 10L minus L squared. With this formula, we can assure that we can use differential equation because it has only two unknowns in one equation. Okay? So now applying the rules, so if the area um, is the one we need to build the relationship with the length, and then we will write dA over dL is equal to 10 minus the exponent rule 2L. Any questions so far? And then we will set dA to dL is equals to 0. So why do we need to set it to 0? Okay? What is zero slope? Does it look like this? It's a horizontal slope. Correct? This is a horizontal slope. So later, we will identify the importance of setting the dA over dL to 0 or the derivative to 0. So proceeding, 0 is equal to 10 minus 2L. And then we can get the value of L, which is 5. So I will explain further what is happening here. So we have a Cartesian plane. The x-axis, we substituted it with the derivative of L, or the length, the change in length. Okay? And then the y-axis is substituted by the value of dA, which is the derivative of the area. So now, this graph is a relationship between the length and the area. So 5 is located at the x-axis, which is the L, the change in length. So we have 5 here. Okay? Any question? So L is equal to 5. So what does that mean? So we have the Cartesian plane of xy axis, which is labeled as dl and dA, with negative infinity on the left side and positive infinity on the right side. Let's graph 5. So 5 is here. So I always emphasize this horizontal line because this is the zero slope. dA over dl is 0. Now we remember a while ago that differential calculus is about the rate of change or the slope. So that is very important for you to remember. Okay, maybe it will curve up or curve down. So I prepare two limits on where the curve might behave. So the formula is dA over dl is equal to 10 minus 2L. So let's assign values first that are less than 5 so we can get the behavior of the slope on the left side of 5. So let's say 2. Substitute 2, dA over dl minus 10 equals 2 times 2. We will arrive at dA over dl is equal to positive 6. We know that positive slope behaves like this. Okay? So now, we have a clue that the curve is concave upward. Okay? So, now, let's assign values more than 5. Let's say 7. So, dA over dl is equal to 10 minus 2 times 7. And then dA minus dl is equal to 10 minus 14 is negative 4. So it is a negative slope. Remember, dA over dl is a slope. Okay? Don't forget that. That is very important. So it behaves like this. So we can say that our curve is on the top. Okay? Opening concave upward. So here are the points where they intersect. Remember, I told you a while ago that in curves, line only intersect at one point, the tangency point. Okay? Any questions? May proceed. So let us see the behavior of uh, the change in length over the change in area. So we have an upward curve with 5. If it means that if we have the value of length, which is 5, the area is 25. So let us check in the table. So 5 and 5 is 25 because the total perimeter of 5 and 5 is 20 because 2W plus 2L, 2 times 5 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10, which is 20. So if the value of the length is 2, which is somewhere here, the area is also low. It's just 16. 2 times 8 is 16. If the value is 3, then the width is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. And if the value is 4, the width is 6, which gets the value of the area 24 square meters. So by checking the table and checking the graph, we can say that the positive that the maximum area will occur if the length is 5 meters. So if L is 5 and perimeter is 20, therefore P is equal to 2W plus 2L. So 20 equals 2W plus 2 times 5. So 20 equals 2W plus 10. And then transposing 20 minus 10 equals 2W. Then 10 equals 2W, and then W is equal to 5 meters, as also reflected on the table on previous slide. So therefore, the maximum dimension is 5 meters by 5 meters for maximum area. Remember, this is a square, and a square is also a rectangle. Remember that. Okay? It is a parallelogram. So solving real life problems. A farmer uses 1,600 feet of fencing to enclose a rectangular area which will be divided into 3 pens. What is the maximum total area of the 3 pens that, that he can close with the limited amount of fencing that he was available? So the farmer has limited fence, which is 1,600 feet. So he wants to build 3 fences and maximize the areas. So what are the dimensions that he will build? So it looks like this. 3 pens, one big fence divided by 3. So he has 3 pens. Any questions? Did you visualize the question? If there's any question, raise your hand so that I may recognize you. So this is the value for x. Let's say the long side is the x, and the shorter side is y. So let's proceed. The goal is to maximize the area. So what's the formula of area again? Area is equal to x times y. So how about the perimeter? Perimeter equals 2x because there's only 2 values that have the same length as x, and 4y because there are 4 lengths that are equivalent to y. So substituting the perimeter, which is 1,600 feet, equals 2x plus 4y. So can we derive? No, because there are 3. We need only 2 coefficients in one equation, yes. So let's make this, let's cancel this, divide all by 2. So 800 equals x plus 2y. Then by rearranging, 800 minus 2y is equals to x. So where are we going to use this? We will substitute this on the formula of area, which is xy, because we cannot differentiate with three variables in one equation. So by substituting, area is equal to x, which is 800 minus 2y times y. So area is equal to 800y minus 2y squared. So from that, we have two variables in one equation. We can use differential equation. So let's get the rate of change, which is dA over dy equals 800 minus 4y. So let's set dA over dy to 0. Again, I will remind you that we set dA dy to 0 to get the horizontal slope, which means that if the slope is horizontal, the curve or the path is ready to change from upward to downward or from downward to upward. So 0 is equal to 800 minus 4y. So by rearranging, 4y is equal to 800, and then y is equal to 200 feet. So by substituting on the formula, x will arrive at 400 feet. So now, from what we learned, we will have an activity. Group yourselves into four. So group 1 will perform exercise, make exercise steps related to rate of change. So your rubrics or your scoring is physical activeness is 25%, synchronization is 25%, relation to topic, which is the differentiation, is 25%, and originality is 25%. So group 2, acting. Those who want to do acting, go to group number 2. So the situation is, imagine you are at the zoo. How can you relate differential equations in with animals or buildings or trees? So delivery is 25%. So creativity is 25%. Originality is 25%, and audience impact is 25%. So group number 3, those who want to dance, go to group number 3. Make a short dancing steps that is related to rate of change. So dance moves, 25%, synchronization, 25%, relation to topic, 25%, and the audience impact is 25%. But those who want to sing, go to group 4. So compose a song and then relate it to our topic, which is the rate of change or the differential calculus. So delivery is 25%, rhyme of words 25%, relations to topic 25%, and also the audience impact is 25% for the total of 100%. Okay, group yourselves. So now, after the activity, we all uh, we already learned about the differential equation. So I will make statements now for the application of derivatives. Did you know chemists use derivatives to measure the rate of reaction? Amazing, right? Did you know bikers and vehicles are also affected by derivatives? Yes. because speed is distance over time. And we know that speed on actual is not constant. It may change to 20 kilometers per hour, and then suddenly you are 40 kilometers per hour, and then sometimes you go 80 kilometers per hour. But there is no traveling time from point A to point B in real life that you are using just one speed. Okay, that's unrealistic. So the rate of change, velocity over time is all what you call the what? Somebody know? Velocity over time? Yes, that is acceleration. So profit or loss can be predicted by derivatives. Yes, we can have a whole topic of this, the marginal cost, but we don't have much time left to discuss marginal cost because that's a new principle to be learned. Okay, but economists use derivatives to predict marginal cost, and this is very big help for their business. So the growth of tumor can also be predicted to through derivatives. If you want to be a doctor, especially surgeon, dealing with tumors, then this topic is good for you because some doctors or experts are studying the behavior of the tumor. Okay, they are using the graph, the volume of the tumor over the time. So if they see that the growth is rapid, then they will um, they will suggest some medication and actions for the patient to perform. But if it's not rapid or it's not hazardous, so maybe some medications only, there are no CT scans, there are no operations, and the tumor will suddenly or will pass through. Okay? This relationship of volume over time is called SGR or specific growth rate. So let us reflect. How important is differential calculus in our daily life? Let you ask yourselves. I will give you 1 minute to ask yourselves. So how important is differential calculus in your life? Or maybe you can get one-fourth sheet of pad paper and write your understandings and importance of calculus in our daily life. I will collect the paper later after the discussion. So, you have your assignment. So, this is your assignment. A farmer has a 600 feet of fencing and wants to create a rectangular field along the river. So, he needs to fence along the river itself. So, what are the dimensions of the field that he has the largest area? So, we have discussed problems like that previously. So, I hope you can answer that question. But if you are confused, I have prepared the drawing for this problem. So, this is the river, and he want to put the fence alongside the river. So, meaning the river part is not covered with fence. So, with that information, compute the maximum area that the farmer can attain on that 600 feet long fence. Okay? So that's all. Thank you.